Tasting like a boss. I have Dustin here, and he wanted to do the review at first, but then he got kind of skittish, and then he, I don't know, kind of went back in the house, and then he came back in. So you're kind of lukewarm about today's review, but you know what? I promised you. Yeah, bribery. Now you look like Triumph the Insult Dog. For me to poop on. Anyway, let me put you over here, buddy. Okay? And grab it for the review later if you want. You want this? All right, enjoy your treat. All right. Okay. All right, well, then he jumps down. Great. Oh, you were just in it for the food, man. Okay, I get it. Well, today's review is going to be the third of the reviews for Bones Coffee's single origin coffees. We've already done Sumatra and we've done Ethiopia. So we've gone with Ethiopia with a massively dry climate where they do dry roasting because of the lack of water. We have done Sumatra, which is a very wet climate where they can't dry the beans like you normally would. And as a result, you have wet hulling. So you have two different versions of processing due to the locale, right, of those places. Well, the next three are all going to be more standard, washed processing. And they are Costa Rica, Guatemala, and Colombia. And we're going to be starting with Costa Rica, all right? Now, Costa Rica here, again, this is done in the region of Coto Bruce. Hopefully I have to say that right, in Costa Rica. The roast is medium. The notes are cocoa, nutty, milk chocolate. Don't know, haven't tried it. And the process is washed. In fact, for the next three, this included, it's going to be washed, okay? Now, as far as Costa Rican coffee goes, I am a fan of Costa Rican coffee. I did a review several years ago of a coffee that it's so easily obtained and it's so good, which is 1820. That was a gift from Patrick and Sylvia, two good friends of mine, and they brought it back from Costa Rica, and I tried it, and I liked it in all formats. It's though it's a medium roast, it tastes like a dark roast, and I just really thoroughly enjoy it. So I believe I might have had other Costa Rican coffees too. I just didn't really pay attention to the fact they're Costa Rican. So we know for a fact this one is. Okay, so we're going to be doing it in a cold brew for 24 hours. We're going to be doing it in the drip. Got it in the Bones mug as well. And we're going to be trying it in espresso, okay? Now, after that, we're going into the fourth way, which is the nitro press, which is nitrogen-infused cold brew. So, interesting thing about Costa Rica is that coffee is their major crop, major part of their economy, yet Costa Rican coffee only makes up about 1% of the world's coffee, okay? So how does that jive? What does that mean for them? Well, interestingly, Costa Rica has really invested highly into its coffee and has decided that though they're not going to sell enough coffee to dominate the world market, what they're going to do is they're going to very highly specialize their coffee processing. Now, we aren't really going to be tasting the benefits of that today, okay? Because Bones' coffee is coffee that is just through the washed process. So a lot of the flavor differential we're going to have in the next three flavors between Costa Rica, Guatemala, and Colombia are going to be connected to the soil, the temperature, the weather. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to, right? But currently, Costa Rican coffee can have this massive spectrum of flavors based on what is called honey processing. Now, it has nothing to do with honey, okay? It has nothing to do with honey. And it's kind of related in a way to wet hulling. And it is a process that is not necessary due to the limitations of the region, like the ones in Sumatra and Ethiopia, but it's actually created because of the desire to create another flavor to differentiate your crop from the rest of the world. Okay, so, and when I say honey processing, you're probably thinking, oh, something that came out like in the 1800s, early 1900s. No. This process was started like in 2006, okay? And the idea behind honey processing is to process it but when you do it, leave some of the fruit material, some of the layers behind to differing degrees. So if you think about that, you're like, okay, well, Ethiopia kept the entire berry there, has a long drying process where they have to be agitated and moved around so they don't bruise. That's because of the temperature. Sumatra keeps the parchment aspect of the bean on there, which is not typical for the wash process, for the typical wash process. And they do that because, quite frankly, they just can't dry the beans completely. So they have to dry, they have to process, dry, then remove, then dry again. I mean, so you have that. Costa Rica is saying, okay, well, it's not because of that. We just want to make sure the flavors are different. And so we're going to do honey processing, which is going to be a difference in how much of the material of the fruit is removed from the bean and the length of the process of the drying. So all this is done before the roasting itself. And as a result, Costa Rican coffee, you can find things called like Costa Rican honey red, honey yellow, I think honey purple. I mean, there's all these different colors. And what they're kind of doing is they're creating this spectrum of different flavor notes that are created. Red being one that when it's roasted, it's like a black coffee. They say it tastes boozy and very fruity. And they have other ones where you can pull out more nutty and more floral. So I only say that because if you're deciding to go into Costa Rican coffee and explore it, and given just my having to look at this because of Bones having Costa Rican coffee, I've now realized that it's probably opened the door for me to do a lot of reviews on different Costa Rican coffees in the future to try out these different ones and see, can I really spot the difference in the taste? And if you guys already are fans of Costa Rican coffee and you already have tried these, let me know about the comments and below, and let me know if there's any particular companies that, not doing it right away. I got a lot of coffee to review, but ones maybe I should keep my eye on for purposes of trying the different processing stages, if you will. All right, so let's get to the Costa Rican coffee. We got a toucan in the front, nice art. Got the replication on the sides. Kind of surprised they didn't have the capuchin monkey on there, okay? Because the capuchin monkey, capuchin monkeys are not named after cappuccino. I had to know about this, but cappuccino is named after capuchin monks because the way it looks in the cup kind of looks like their robes, and then of course Capuchin monkeys are named after Capuchin monks because they look like the monks. Okay, so the coffee and the monkey are named after the monk, but it just so happens that coffee and that monkey very well connected to Costa Rica. Mind blown. All right, let's get down to the smelling. Not a really dark scent in the coffee. It smells medium. It does have like chocolate notes and a little bit of nutty notes to it. So when it says cocoa and milk chocolate, it'll be interesting. I always kind of considered my Costa Rican coffee from 1820 to be much more dark than milk chocolate, but let's see what we have. Let's get to the cold brew. Tasting like a boss. Yeah, it's a very pleasant cold brew. It's very even. It reminds me of Guatemalan coffee in that way. When it says cocoa, nutty, milk chocolate, I'm getting more of a nutty and milk chocolate to it. I actually detect some fruit notes, but not like really sharp. So I like it, but it's like a standard medium roast coffee is what it tastes like to me. Let's move on to the drip. Scent on it is very pronounced nutty. Okay, yeah. This is a medium to bright coffee. It's definitely a good cup of coffee. It isn't as smooth. It isn't as smooth as I thought it would be. It does have more of a sharper edge, kind of as a peak, flavor to it. So it'll be a brighter coffee. It kind of occupies that space between breakfast blend and just medium. So again, it's good. It isn't my favorite thing, but it's good. So far, if I'm picking a Costa Rican coffee that I like, I'm gonna go with the 1820 versus this one. No offense. But if you want something that's not that dark from Costa Rica, I think you'll like this. Let's move on to the espresso. Here I'm getting nothing but milk chocolate on the scent, tasting like a boss. It's a little brighter than I want it to be. It doesn't lend itself to being done as an espresso. This one doesn't. I believe 1820 did. Much more versatile, much darker roast. This here, you know what it is? I think it's because of the nutty profiles and what I detect to be slightly fruity profiles here. It just makes it a little too sharp for the cappuccino. It doesn't make it rancid in any way. It's not something you can't enjoy. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be what you want. So I would probably steer clear of doing that unless you just want to compare it to my example. Well, let's move to the nitro press, okay? So shaking up the nitro press here. Going to be dispensing like a boss now. Remember, it's just nitrogen. That's all it is. No cream, no sugar, nothing. It's the exact same thing as the cold brew, which we've already tasted. We're gonna let that dispense a little bit, but so you can have a side-by-side comparison. There you go. All right, we're gonna let that settle. As you can see, the settling going on a little bit. So far, because I know I took a lot of time in the beginning, I might as well start talking about my assessment thus far. It works okay as a cold brew. It's a decent breakfast to medium brew on the drip, but espresso, I probably just wouldn't do at all. On a whole, in comparison to the other two we've already had, I actually think I like this one least. Why is because the Ethiopian coffee and the Sumatra coffee, well, they may not work in every format. When they do work, which is mostly in the cold brew and the drip, and I guess one of them actually did really well in the espresso too, but where they do work, they do bring something very special and different to the table and unique. The Costa Rican coffee to me, so far, at least, again, this is just Bones Costa Rican one, is I feel like I can get this at the grocery store, right? And because it's just the washed process, and I know there's other ones you can get that are not going to be necessarily the same price as Bones is here, I don't think I'm going to be getting this particular bag again from Bones. Now, I will say that if this different honey washed versions of Costa Rican coffee become a big thing, I could see them doing that and creating limited bags of that if they wish to do it. And that might be the way to best differentiate themselves in the Costa Rican coffee market, but I don't think that's really what they want to do anyway. So it's nice to have it just to complete your collection, but realize you're going to be getting it. And so far, I think the beans are just going to be okay. But you have the nice little image on it, all right? So again, let's come back to the cold brew and the nitro press. Here we go. We're going to do taste here. To remind ourselves, it's a very watery, but very even, light to medium brew, more medium brew, nitro press. And of course, that's probably the best way to do it, is going to be the nitro press. The nitro press, just adding that creaminess to it, really accents the milk chocolate taste. Like when it says milk chocolate on it, you're getting little hints of it. Here it's really kind of forward. The nutty aspect, to the extent it even exists, is so connected with the milk chocolate flavor that it's more like just drinking chocolate milk. And that's actually really quite nice. So if you're going to be doing it and you have a nitro press, definitely use it in the nitro press. You will enjoy that. But you know, along the way, is it a great coffee for me? No, but it allows me to look into it. So anyway, Costa Rica single origin coffee, we got that one down, and we only have 2 more to go on the single origin series. Thanks for the support and the likes and the shares and people who subscribe. Continue to like, subscribe, share, hit alerts. And I may release this, I think we just released the Ethiopian one today, I think. So I may release this one today as well, even though I did the Ethiopian one like a week ago, because I'm anxious to move on to the other stuff, all right? So until next time, people, thanks for all the support and keep tasting like a boss. Thanks so much.